NBA Top Shot prices are down, but is there light at the end of this tunnel? Let's dig into this, guys. Hello to all my collectibles friends, all my NBA Top Shot friends. Thanks very much for joining me for a double premiere this morning. I typically come out with a video about 8:15 Eastern in the morning. I'm going to do back-to-back ones today on this Wednesday. Just try that out, something different. This video is going to be specifically about NBA Top Shot and why I'm doubling down on some of my positions here on this site, on this platform. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button. We've got almost 500 videos on the channel. It's all collectibles based, a lot of sports collectibles and all sorts of different stuff. If it's about collectibles and it's interesting, then I like to talk about it. I like to understand why people collect certain things, why they invest in collectibles. All of that stuff fascinates me. So thanks very much for joining, and let's go ahead and start digging into it. Mike Tyson has a famous quote, "Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth." And NBA Top Shot is taking haymakers right now, absolute haymakers. There's all sorts of things that are kind of going wrong for this site currently, this platform. I shouldn't say going wrong, but there's a lot of complaints, and some of them are very valid. There's some of the things that Dapper Labs has definitely sorted through, but there are certain things that they're slowly progressing, but just not fast enough to keep pace with, to keep people happy, and that's natural. I think this is kind of the function of a startup company that has, grown tremendously, really kind of outpaced. It's not even in the same stratosphere as most startup companies. I mean, you're talking about $400 million of sales in 6 months. It's not even in the same, it's not on the same planet as a typical startup company. So it would actually honestly be strange if they did have everything in place and they were able to handle all the volume. And even if they could handle all the volume, they would probably leave themselves vulnerable to security issues and all sorts of things. So I think there's a give and take there with some of this stuff, some of the problems that they're having. Maybe they could have done some things differently, but I mean, I think for the most part, and I've said this in previous videos, I think a lot of the things that bother people about being able to withdraw, for example, I think they're going to have that sorted out in the next 6 to 12 months. Maybe it'll take a shorter amount of time than that. Maybe it'll take a longer amount of time than that. But in the long run, NBA Top Shot has got all sorts of potential. The big news today is another $305 million was just invested into the platform, into NBA Top Shot and into Dapper Labs. That's an astronomical amount of money, and included in that is Michael Jordan has invested in NBA Top Shot and in Dapper Labs. And that's a big deal for this particular platform. I mean, this platform, I think there was something like 70% of the sales on this platform are LeBron James related moments. So that kind of, and it's kind of similar to the sports card market in that way, that you have the top tier players that really drive a lot of the pricing. If NBA Top Shot has Michael Jordan's license and they are able to make Michael Jordan moments, they will be very, very popular on the site. Very popular. And then, of course, that can bleed into Larry Bird and Magic Johnson and Julius Erving and Wilt Chamberlain and everybody else in the archive of the NBA. And so when you look at, I think, honestly, vintage moments excite me a lot more than the modern moments, if you will. So the fact that 300, I mean, if you kind of just think about that, we were talking about Dibs yesterday. It's a new startup company, fractional share company for sports cards. They got $2.8 million, which is a lot of money for seed funding. $2.8 million. Top Shot just got $300 million. And Roham, actually, there was a tweet that came out that he did, and I thought it was interesting. He said that essentially they have been operating on less than 1/6 of this budget. So in kind of what the $30-40 million range as far as investment, trying to ramp up, trying to get everything set up. Now they're really, he was kind of saying like, now we can really do it. We've got the money to really scale. And that's always kind of the case is there enough money to scale with any business? That's especially a very popular one. If you can't scale quick enough, a lot of times you lose opportunities. And here we see it. We do see that funding is not an issue. Funding is not an issue for this company. And now they can actually spread their wings and make this happen, or at least that can't be an excuse anymore. This is more reason for me to continue to put more money on this platform, and I have done. I've doubled down. I've gone into and really expanded my positions on certain players that. Now look, I am buying really star players. I'm not focused on anybody that's not named, Luka Doncic, Steph Curry, LeBron. And the prospects that I'm buying are Jason Tatum and Trae Young. They're proven prospects, guys like that, Devin Booker. And yeah, I do own a few prospects. I've got a couple Christian Wood, moments that I thought would be good to pick up kind of on the cheap. But that's very little. That's literally 3 to 5%, if maybe less, of my portfolio of NBA Top Shot. And because I do believe in it long term, those are guys that I think are going to be relevant. I'm just focused on the guys I think are going to be relevant in the league over the next 3, 5, maybe 10 years. And those are the moments that I'm trying to get a hold of. And then I want limited edition moments. I want anything that is under 15,000 limited edition. If there's less than 15,000, then I'm taking a look at it. And frankly, where the pricing is now, there's not really an excuse. Now you can really get superstar players. I was looking at Jason Tatum, 15,000 LE moments are $30, $35. It's not like they were, a month, 6 weeks ago where it was, minimum buy-in on some of these guys was $300, $400, $500, $1,000. These are all kind of, they're fairly affordable compared to where they have been before. So, I am just going to keep on kind of reinvesting and putting it back in and just see what happens with it. And this investment was huge. I mean, this was a big one, especially because Michael Jordan's name is on it. Michael Jordan, he's arguably the most famous athlete maybe of all time. He's a top 5 most popular athlete of all time, maybe number 1. I mean, and the fact that he is getting involved and if he is going to lend his license, the other part is that there is speculation, and NBA players have talked about kind of moments being used for access to, players or games. And the thing that just is mind-boggling too about this is the NBA licenses a lot of products. There's a lot of products that are licensed by the NBA. They are very careful about which products that they get behind, but they do license quite a bit of products. But this is the only NBA licensed product that I see on their broadcast, that I see really being promoted on social media by their players. And let's face it, I mean, the NBA PA, the Player Association, they get cuts of jersey sales and video game sales and all this stuff, but that's not what they're talking about. They're talking about NBA Top Shot, and that has my attention. So I have a hard time just thinking that this stuff is going to go to zero. Now look, it might go to zero. It's highly speculative, it's new. And the one piece that I do agree with, like the Gary V's of the world that say 97% of Top Shots are going to go down in value, I do agree with that because I am taking a sports card approach to NBA Top Shot in the sense that I'm focused around superstars. All of the more common players, no offense to them, but it is true in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, these guys might not even be in the league. People might not even remember who they were. So I am zeroed in. I do think that, there's going to be kind of the top players are going to command money in the future. I think they're going to stay valuable certain moments, not saying that everything will, and who knows, maybe it won't, but I love the platform and I do enjoy, I know people say it's, there's the Darren Ravel poll where 80% of people on Top Shot are just on there to make money. And maybe that's true, but I'll tell you, if that is true, the 20% that are, collecting them and kind of enjoy them, I'm one of those. I consider myself one of the 15 or 20% of that, if that is a thing, if that poll is even real. Frankly, I don't really trust polls, especially one. It's one data point. And the other part is that you can't even open a new account. You can't open a new account on the site. So there's so much talk about once everybody can withdraw their money, they're heading out. Well, that's fine. Those short-term investors that do kind of move on to something else, they will be, I believe, replaced by other people. I think that there are in the millions of people that will be involved in this. I don't know if they're going to all be spending a bunch of money on the site, but I do think that this will be a mainstream thing. And for a big reason for that is that NBA players are talking about it. People are, it has the potential to really have cultural relevance because of the way that the NBA and the NBA PA, the Players Association, are really kind of selling it and really talking it up and enjoying it and all the rest of it. And then what is the utility of the moments? We don't know what that's going to look like, but the NBA has the power to make the utility powerful for them, meaning that they can make these things more valuable by saying, oh, you own 10 Jason Tatum moments? Well, come before the game and you get to, or you own this really rare Jason Tatum moment? Well, you have access to meet Jason Tatum before this game on this date, or whatever, whatever it is. Free concessions at the game or whatever, free NBA Live Pass or something, free video games, whatever it is, they have the ability to provide utility if they want to, for these moments. So if this becomes a thing, and NFTs, I think that a lot of people think that NFTs will continue to grow and become a thing. We just don't know which projects are going to do well. It's kind of like the 2000.com companies where everyone's trying to go public. Nobody knows which ones are going to survive, and most of them did not survive. Most of them were not eBay and Amazon. Most of them were something else. Hats on Broadway.com or whatever it was, and it didn't work out. So that's the whole point with NFTs. It's true. We don't know what projects are going to be popular 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now. We also don't know how NFTs themselves will evolve and how they will be displayed. Right now, we're looking at kind of like the birth of it over the last couple years. Oh, here's an NFT and what it looks like. How is it going to evolve over the next 5, 10, 20 years, those digital collectibles? Will it be something that is displayed a certain way? Will it be holographic? Will it, who knows? Who knows what those things are? Those are all things that have to be sorted out. When we look at human behavior, humans want instant gratification. There is a short-term gratification deal that the majority of human beings are looking for. They're looking for short-term gains. Most people are not looking at the long-term big picture, or care to, for that matter. And that's perfectly okay. But you can be rewarded when investing, when really looking long-term, if you believe in a certain thing. If you believe in a platform, if you believe in a stock index, if you believe in a certain piece of real estate, if you believe in, whatever that thing is, pop culture collectibles, if you're a believer in it, you might be wrong, but if it's something you've done your research and you've really thought through, what's the worst case scenario? What price point am I getting in on it at? These are all things to take into consideration when investing in collectibles or traditional investments for that matter. It's going to be really fun to see how this plays out. I'm excited. And like I said, I'm going to keep going with Top Shot and see where this takes me. Let me know in the comments. And I know there's a lot of physical card people that are not a fan of NBA Top Shot, and that is perfectly okay. I don't try to convince anybody of anything. If you get into it, great. I don't care either way. I really don't. The demand is already there, folks. The demand for NBA Top Shot is already there. There's no longer a question of whether digital collectibles are popular or not. If it's done a certain way, we have seen the demand is real for it. It's just a matter of how it's executed, how does it end up, how does it fit does it go mainstream? Is it more niche? These are all things that are going to get worked out over the years to come. But let me know. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for joining. I hope that everyone has an amazing, amazing Wednesday. Thank you. I did kind of a back-to-back premiere here this morning, trying that out to see how people like it. You guys stay healthy, and we will see you again tomorrow.